Jana Janov is Senior Director for Air Force, Space Force, and COCOMS at VMware. She told me what some of her customers in the SOF community are doing at the edge.
From our perspective, because we're a software manufacturer, right? It's not about the hardware, whatever. It's enabling the warfighter to have access to applications, right? And so having kind of a consistent platform on any device, in any tactical edge environment, and to have applications that are container ready, right? So our platform provides that container ready surface so that, for example, Army Future Software Factory is developing applications, containerized applications that they can then deliver directly to the warfighter at that tactical edge, because the edge now is container ready.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the transformation that the industry is going through in terms of modern applications. So.
How is the edge changing? Is the edge today the same thing that the edge was 5 years ago, or that it may be, I know we can't predict, but that it might be 5 years from now? Is it a fluid thing, or is it kind of a set, determined place?
No, definitely the edge is changing, yeah. Right. So it used to be kind of heavy equipment, and now it's very lightweight, worn on a uniform kind of a thing. And we do have a lot of applications now where we're enabling AI in a very small form factor that can be carried by a soldier or airman or special forces. So yeah, it's definitely a changing thing, and obviously it's all software enabled because that's where the lightweight comes from, right?
Yeah.
So
what's the implication of that emphasis on software, do you think, for the person who's meeting mission at the tip of the spear?
From an education perspective?
Well, from an execution perspective, what does he or she do differently today, because the focus is so much on on software rather than what's in the pack?
Sure. What I would say is that the actual user of the technology in the field needs to have a consistent way of interacting with whatever that application is, right? So that it's easier, right? Obviously, at the tactical edge in this environment is way different than in a commercial space. So having very quick decision-making capability and the ability to understand how to use that software has to be consistent across the board, because if they're if one day they're in an aircraft and they have one system and another day they're on the ground, they have to have a consistent interface as a user.
Yeah, and I imagine it's just as important that they know that their peers and colleagues are seeing the same thing they're seeing, right?
Yeah.
That consistency is also important in that way?
Yeah, absolutely, yes. So being able to have data coming from the edge to an aircraft, for example. We recently were part of an environment where data was taken on an Aegis ship, sent to an F-35, and then directed down to a land-based Army facility to do data processing. That consistent environment enabled very rapid reaction at the edge.
And what you're talking about there is kind of the nirvana that the military leaders that I've talked to about the edge have described, because they don't want that information to have to come back to home port. They want it to be able to go from edge point to edge point to edge point.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. What do you see as the next step or two or three in this evolution?
So we are working very hard with kind of in the back room on taking AI, enabling AI to the edge, right? So that those decisions are a lot more rapid. So that's coming in the future, but that's definitely an area that we're working on hard.
Joan, it's great to talk to you. Thanks very much.